mean, the movie is just stunning, you know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And people are just freaking out already, just ecstatic reviews. People are calling it a masterpiece. How do you feel when you hear things, you know, hear these kind of reviews?
Well, I haven't read anything at all about the film. I just know that when I went to see it in Telluride, at the end of the film, I was just speechless, really. I just thought it was a beautiful piece of storytelling. I do think it's a masterwork. I think Steve has made a masterpiece here. And just very privileged to be a part of it. Very proud of him. I'm very proud of the whole experience and the whole team that was involved in it, really. From the heart, I'm really very happy.
I think you guys should just all get your Oscars now. You know what I mean? You guys, Kate Blanchett and Meryl, you should just get your Oscars now and you can all go home.
Okay.
Well, does that put pressure on you? I mean, everything you guys seem to do together, this is the third movie you've made with Steven. How has your relationship changed by now?
It just really kind of, I think, got stronger. He's almost, you know, we're kind of like family in a way. I love him obviously as a director. He's just changed my life, but as a man as well, I really just have a lot of love for him. Just look forward to walking on a set with him, and Sean Bobbitt as well, Joe Walker, who's been editing. You know, just the team that Steve puts together and the energy that he creates on a set is just a pretty special experience. And like I said, you know, he changed my life with Hunger, and so I'm forever, you know, in debt to him, and just so glad that I sort of got to meet him. You know, when I started off when I was 17, 18, decided that I wanted to do acting, the dream for me was to find somebody who could draw the best out of me, and have a chemistry with the director like that. So for me, it's like, it really is like hitting the jackpot.
Like a 21st century Scorsese and De Niro, eh?
That would be...
It must be just brilliant to have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Every actor's dream, right?
Absolutely. Well, certainly mine, anyway, yeah.
So, tell me about the story. Who was Solomon? What is this story?
Well, Solomon was a free man. That was basically, Steve tells it quite well, it's kind of like a fable or a fairy tale. It's kind of like Pinocchio. He's tricked into joining the circus and sold into slavery in the South, from Washington. And so we then, as an audience member, it's a great thing that he was a free man that was sort of tricked and sold into slavery, because as an audience, we can start to sort of see the circumstances through Solomon's eyes. And that's another great technique of Steve's, that he can actually take the audience into the protagonist's vision, and they kind of go through the experience with him. And so we go through the 12 years with this extraordinary man and his sort of ability to keep his dignity intact and his optimism and his grace. And so it's a pretty incredible journey.
As a white man growing up in mostly Europe, Ireland, I imagine, how did you relate to the topic of slavery personally, or didn't relate to?
Well, you know, one thing I have to say about, you know, Irish education system is pretty excellent. Well, it certainly was when I was at school. History was a very important topic. Obviously, we've got our own history in Ireland, which is very important that it's taught in Ireland, but also a passion for others' history, and the American history was taught to us. So I was very much aware of what slavery was all about. And of course, you know, I think it's a universal topic, you know, what was happening in the Congo, what was happening in the British Empire. It's not just, this isn't just exclusive to America, it's part of all of our ancestry. So, yeah, I was always quite aware of it, quite well sort of educated on it.
Why do you think there had, I mean, I remember, you know, in the 70s, or, you know, or I saw Roots on TV. That was a big event TV.
Me too.
Yeah, who knew, I would never miss it. Who could forget Kunta Kinte?
Yeah, yeah.
But it kind of, you know, I remember the name, but, you know, the characters, but I don't get a sense of the meaning of what I saw. It didn't mean anything. It was just a TV show. You know, this is a different.
Yes, I think what's different about this is the complexity of the world. It's not just a black and white scenario. It's basically, we see the economics of slavery in this movie. Through Solomon's journey, we go from a logging farm to a cotton farm to a sugarcane farm. So you start to realize the industry and economics of slavery, as opposed to just master and slave, and the cruelty and brutality of that, the complexity of slavery. And then, of course, you know, the various characters that we meet along the way. You know, Ford is a particular type of character. Paul Dano's character is a particular type of character. Paul Giamatti, Epps, Bass, you know, Brad Pitt's character. There's a complex range of people there, real human beings. And so we, as an audience, we start to recognize ourselves in these various characters. So I think it hits home in a harder way.
How were you able to embrace your character, to understand his motives? What kind of man was Epps?
I think Epps is, he's not very intelligent. I think he's got psychotic tendencies. I think he's an emotional character. I think he's in love with Patsy, but doesn't have the intellect to process that information or feeling or emotion. I think he's married above his station or his status. I don't know if that's historically correct. It was just a choice that Sarah and I came up with. And all of these things together, mixed together, is a great pool to build a human being from, as opposed to a cruel plantation owner, which is just one sentence.
Whenever I've seen your work, particularly Hunger and Shame, you push yourself absolutely to the extremes. In this film, what type of risks do you feel you took as an actor?
I don't really see it as risks. I just see it as kind of fulfilling the character as best as possible and facilitating the character in a way that will tell the story as best as possible. Risks are day-to-day things, like just, you know, going to a point where you're going to fall on your face and being all right with failing, making a decision that might make you look a little silly or go down the wrong path, but go for it, you know, at least try, you know, at least, you know, take that step into the unknown or let go of the railings that sort of keep you safe, or all those little tricks that actors, you know, gather over the years, to let go of all those things and to not be afraid to fail, essentially. That's the only risky part. And then things start to happen. Then once you go beyond that point, then you start to discover things. You start to discover things with your fellow actors, with the cameraman, the rhythms that you hold together. And then it feels like music, then it feels like dancing, you know, and it's more challenging, more interesting.
Now, you also have Brad Pitt as one of the producers of this show. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that must have helped to get this film made.
Absolutely, it did, yeah. And we're very thankful to Brad and, you know, Dee Dee and Jeremy at Plan B.
What kind of producer was he? I mean, he had the role, he's also in the movie, and a producer as well on top of all of that. Was that, for you guys, otherwise would have had problems getting the money, financing to get this film made? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a little bit.
That's
there,
okay.
Michael,
Happens to me all the time.
Really, I'm very, very sorry.
Called a brain fart.
I was just reading in the press notes as well that, you know, without his help, it wouldn't have really happened, possibly.
Well, absolutely. I think, you know, Plan B, or it's important that we have people like Brad and, as I say, Dee Dee and Jeremy in the industry, because they came up to Steve after seeing Hunger, and they're real supporters of filmmakers. They have a real passion for filmmakers. And sometimes those filmmakers make subject material that's difficult to get financed, certainly through studios. And so without them, yeah, this film we wouldn't be sitting here. So gotta say hats off and thank you to them.
He said in Toronto as well that for him at a press conference, I read it, and he said that if this is the last film he ever makes, this is it for him.
Yeah.
He can't top this.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
So